Another 5-minute mystery.
Well, Sergeant, if it hadn't been for your smart sleuthing, we never could have pinned those forgeries on Richie Albert.
I think you can take a little of the credit yourself.
Sure to be sent up for a nice long term. Too bad all cases aren't just simple.
You mean the Forsythe case?
Exactly. Over 4 months old, and we haven't cracked it yet. I'm sure whoever forged those checks on Forsythe is the same person who murdered him.
Yes, it's obvious Forsythe found out who the forger was, and the guy had to bump him off or get caught.
Funny. I wonder.
What's that, Inspector?
Maybe we've got the murderer right under our noses and don't know it.
You mean Richie?
It's only a wild stab on my part, but we could have the handwriting on the two forgeries analyzed.
Say, Inspector, I think you've got something there. At least it's worth a try.
It certainly is. Come on, Sergeant. We're going over to the lab right now.
Any news yet, Inspector?
Not yet. They've got one of their best experts working on the handwriting. We'll call as soon as...
Uh-oh. That might be him now.
Inspector Kennedy speaking. Yes, Phillips. Let's see. Okay, thanks a lot.
Well, Inspector?
That's the go-ahead, Sergeant. Hold down the fort. I'm going over to the city jail to pay a little call on Richie Albert.
What's the matter with you coppers? I confess I forged those checks last week. Why can't you leave a guy alone?
I thought maybe you might have something more on your mind you'd like to get off.
Like what?
Like admitting you forged some checks on that Samuel J. Forsythe last July. And that you bumped him off a month later.
Murder? Listen, you, I may work a little different for a living than you, but I don't get mixed up in no murder.
That doesn't mean you wouldn't.
Well, you're barking up the wrong tree this time. Besides, I wasn't any place near here last summer.
You'll have to prove that, Richie.
Sure, I can prove it. I was working as a bookie down south at the Kentucky Derby. You can hang that charge on top of me, but I ain't taking no murder rap.
You mind telling me how long you were down there, Richie?
For 2 months. July right through September. And keeping my nose to the grindstone all along.
Richie, what if I told you the handwriting on your forged checks and the Forsythe checks are the same type?
So what if they are? I still didn't have nothing to do with it. I told you where I was when Forsythe was murdered.
I'd like to believe you, Richie, but I'm afraid I can't. You're going up for Sam Forsythe's murder.
How does Inspector Kennedy know Richie Alberts is lying? Do you know the clue? In a moment, we'll hear. And now, back to our story.
Inspector, you're a genius. 2 cases cleared up and only 1 man jailed. But I still don't know how you did it.
Very simple, Sergeant. Quite simple. See, knowing that the signatures on both the forgery cases were the same type was something to go on. Richie's having an alibi about his whereabouts at the time of the murder could have cleared him, except for one thing. An innocent man doesn't need to fake an alibi. See, Richie couldn't have been at the Kentucky Derby last August, as he said, because the Kentucky Derby is run only in the spring. When we caught him on that one, he broke down and confessed. It looks like Richie's rubber checks are going to bounce him right into the hot seat.